So first of all, you know what we called this was, Gabriel, what did we call this?
I can't thoughts.
Yes,
I can't do this, I can't do that.
I can't do this and I can't do that. So how many of us have those kinds of thoughts going on? Like, one of the things that Access is inviting us is into the possibility, actually, yes, I've got that going, is inviting us to the possibility that we can have more than what we have the means, like if we're earning so much money or we've got so much money in our bank accounts, we use that as a limitation. We use that as a way of limiting us from creating. What if we could create way more than what we think we can? And what if it wasn't about the amount of money that we have in our bank accounts, but what if it was more about choice and choosing? So we do have these points of view that I can't. I do know that, actually, here's an example for you. When I first started doing Access, I actually had credit card debt. I owned nothing. I was still paying off my car. I was age 55 and I didn't have a house. I didn't have my own house. And I had been really struggling. And when I started doing Access and doing Access classes, those points of view really just changed. And I didn't even really realize that they had changed. I didn't know it. But that very first year that I started doing Access, I chose to go to a 7-day class in, well, it was going to be in New Zealand at the time, and then 9/11 happened, and so the Americans didn't want to travel to New Zealand because of the terrorist attacks. So they changed it to be in America, and so that meant that I had to find the money to travel over there as well. So I think it was about $4,000 plus the money for the travel. And what I did was every day I asked this question: what would it take for me to go to this 7-day class? I didn't really believe it. I just asked it every day. And I think that that built up my determination to have that class and to do it. I remember about a week before the class was to start, I still hadn't booked my tickets and I still didn't think I was going. But I went to bed one night and something switched in my head and I started saying, I can, instead of saying I can't. I must have been saying I can't, but I started saying I can. Do any of you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, definitely.
So what do you know about that, Gabriel?
Maybe I can't. It does come down to choosing. If you really want something, the universe will conspire to get you there. It really will. I've got a similar story. I was looking at COP in Washington last year because I wanted to do COP with Gary. And I came up in Washington, and like you, I didn't live in my own house. I was paying rent. I had credit card debt, was paying off the car, and I chose it. It's like, I'm going to go to that. $100, I'm going to that. I want to do a class with Gary.
Yeah.
Now, things showed up in my reality that I ended up with the money to do the class.
Yeah.
The money for the flight ticket, so that was $2,000 for flight.
Yeah.
And I managed to do a hotel room share with a lovely person from Canada.
Yeah.
So we shared the hotel expenses and had a fabulous time.
Yeah.
And I found anything that I've wanted to do, there's been a willingness and the choice to do it,
Yeah.
and things show up.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't actually get that when you choose it, things will show up. If you're really determined and really want to do something, it will happen.
It does. Yeah.
And anything that doesn't allow that, destroy and uncreate.
There you go. I'll be your pock potter. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, pock, all nine, shorts, and beyonds. So that's a really, and I've seen people who've come to classes and they've had no money when they've started off with the bars class, and then they've chosen to do other classes and they just go out there and create it. I have seen people do that. And for myself, it was pretty much unbelievable because I don't think I believed it. But I also bought my first house, probably that first year that I started doing Access. And, you know, because I'd left my ex-husband and walked away with nothing, and struggled ever since. And I really know I must have been choosing to have my own house, because that was one of the things that showed up for me, because I started to look for, how can I have my own house? How can I create my own house? And these are some of the questions you can do. Like, honestly, if you choose, if there's something that you want and you haven't chosen it yet, just choose it. Just say, you know what? I'm going to have that. And one of the things that Gary talks about now is that we need to increase our ask for way more than what we're asking for. So everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, shorts, millions. I've got a really cool clearing here that I'd like to run if anybody would be interested in. And it goes like this. What jails are you using to create the dominance of E equals MC squared, to create you avoiding the wealth of possibilities you could be choosing? And when you ask that question, we then clear the energy that comes up underneath it. So I'm going to ask you if you would just destroy and uncreate all those energies that come up when we ask that process. And then the clearing statement, and I know Andrea hasn't, she may know the clearing. Do you know the clearing statement, Andrea, or not? Do you want to just let us know or not? I'm not going to explain it all, but we will be doing that in the bars class, because I know you're coming to the bars class in a couple of weeks' time. So everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate it? And then I'll do the clearing statement, which is right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Okay, so shall we run that one a couple more times?
Yes.
Let's do it. And also, if you've got any kind of thoughts that come up on it, what we're doing with the clearing statement is we're turning the polarity of the energy. And these classes, the classes that we do, and the clearings and the processes, they all are about clearing limitations that we might have to having what we'd truly like to have in our lives. So I'm going to run that one again 2 or 3 more times. So what jails are you using to create the dominance of E equals MC squared, to create you avoiding the wealth of possibilities you could be choosing? So everything that brings up times godzillion, will you please destroy and uncreate it all?
Yeah.
Yes. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, pock, all nine, shorts, one, yawns. So this time I'm going to ask you if there's any thoughts that come up, because it will bring up those thoughts. And it's really, we're looking for the insane answers. We're not looking for the sane stuff. We're looking for the answers that are in your insane mind that are creating the limitations. So what jails are you using to create the dominance of E equals MC squared, to create you avoiding the wealth of possibilities you could be choosing? So anything coming up on that, anybody?
Mine, time.
Yours is time.
Yeah.
Yep. So you've got a lack of time.
Yeah, but when I think about it, I don't. But that's what came up.
Okay, cool.
Mm.
So, right. So would you like to destroy it? Because time does create scarcity, because there's always a limit on time. So let's destroy and uncreate all of those, everything that comes up with time, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, swim, yawns. And also the thing about time is that time is actually not true. What is true is energy and space, right? So there's, if you start to think of your life in terms of how much space do you have, or what energy do you have? Where do I need to put my energy today? You will find that you will get way more done. One of the things that Gary teaches is that if you do lists of things, if you write down your to-do list, you won't get as much done as if you don't have a to-do list, and just ask, as you start to do things, just go, what's next? After you finish that, go, what's next, and what's next, and what's next. So what jails
be
do,
the same humanoid and multitask and triple task.
yes, absolutely, very creative people. So what jails are using to create the dominance of E equals MC squared to create you avoiding the wealth of possibilities you could be choosing. And everything that brings up times a godzillion. Will you destroy and uncreate it, please?
Yes.
And right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and yawns. What jails are you using to create the dominance of E equals MC squared to create you avoiding the wealth of possibilities you could be choosing? And everything that is times a godzillion. Will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and yawns. So anybody else have anything else that comes up when we ask that question?
What do I want to choose? What do I desire to choose?
So what do you want to choose, Gabriel?
There's an energy there that was quite funny. So Shane did a video a couple of weeks ago on what do you truly desire?
Yes.
And he asked the question, and most people can't cognitize it, can't actually put it into words. It's an energy.
Yes.
And it's asking the universe for that energy to start showing up.
Yes. Yes. And we talk about that
Right.
on the Expand Your Beings in the mornings. We're talking about energy that we're choosing.
Mm.
It's an energy. Another thing that you can do, because most of us don't know what we truly desire in our lives, this is talking about material things, because you can ask for material things as well as talents and abilities, or what you might call spiritual things. And we don't even ask for enough material things, really. And what you can do is, if you see somebody has something that you would like to have, you can go, I'll have one of those. So if you see someone driving a beautiful car, you can just say, hey, I'd like one of those. Or if you see somebody wearing beautiful clothes with gorgeous shoes and handbags, just say, I'll have that. I'll have one of those. And this is a way you start to choose your life and bring it into fruition. You can also, yes?
It's interesting you say shoes. The other night there's a car accident down the road from work, so the traffic was backed up. Now, to avoid being stuck in traffic, I decided to go to the mall and do a wee bit of window shopping. And not that I was looking for shoes, but a pair of shoes jumped out that looked absolutely fabulous. And what's even better still, they were half price special in my size, just waiting for me.
Just waiting for you, so they were calling you.
Just waiting for me. Yep.
What colour?
Beautiful brown leather. Nice dress boots.
Sorry, we can't see them. We'd love to see
Oh,
them.
you want to see them?
We do. Of course we do.
Of course you do. Okay. Let's see. Get it in the light.
Oh, they're boots.
Yeah.
Oh, they're cool. How does it get better than that? Thank you,
How
universe.
does it get any better?
Yeah, and thank you, universe, for those. Yes, so you all know about how does it get any better than this, and to ask that whenever things go well, and whenever things don't go well, how does it get any better than this?
And what else is possible?
Okay, and what else is possible?
So if we bring that back to sort of more of a base level on what to choose, or not knowing what to choose, I know starting off on my Access journey, I had done stuff like Reiki and energy healing, and bars come up, and I initially didn't want to choose bars. However, I did want to do the foundation class, but my local CF said, I've got to do the bars. Like, I don't want to do the bars. It's like, you've got to do the bars to then be able to do foundation. But I just want to do foundation. So, long story short, I chose to do bars. And I have to admit, the magic that showed up that day was just phenomenal. To the point where I did 4 more bars classes.
Oh, wow.
And become a bars practitioner, bars facilitator.
Yeah, yeah.
But sometimes we do have that, the world is our oyster, and we could choose a multitude of things, to the point where it's like, what do I choose?
Yeah. What do I
And for
choose?
people just starting on the journey of expansion and choosing things that will create change in their life, create the things to start showing up in their life.
Yeah. No matter how impossible anybody thinks it is. So would you guys be willing to choose beyond what you've been choosing to have in your lives that you never thought was possible? Just say yes.
Yes.
Destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion, and everything that doesn't allow that, destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts with neons. So anybody got any questions they want to ask about choosing more or creating greater? What questions would you like to ask? Oh, we've explained it. Joe, do you want to say something?
Yeah. Is it greedy to ask for too much though?
That's a very good question.
Well, the world is abundant. There is no scarcity.
It's not, greedy is really...
You can ask for beyond.
There's just, there's more than enough for everybody, and greed is actually, it's not a truth. There's 4 words that you might like to get out of your vocabulary, and they are need, want, try, but, and never. Those 2 words, need and want, if you start saying I'm going to instead of I want something, or what would it take to have something, it's amazing.
I desire is a good one.
What's that? I desire.
I desire.
What would it take to have it? And I'm going to have it. There's a different energy when you say I'm having that.
Yes.
And in terms of greedy, that's what we've been kind of indoctrinated with from this, what we call this reality. So we have really been implanted to believe that there's not enough. So everywhere we've been implanted to believe and trained to believe there's not enough to go around. Would you like to destroy and uncreate all of those implants and explants?
Yes.
All the shirky stuff that's underneath it, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts with neons. The reason somebody has more than somebody else is not because they're more talented, it's not because they're brainier, Not because they were born into it, it's because they chose it. So the situation where we are right now is because we've chosen that, and nobody's ever actually taught us or told us we need to choose more. We just need to choose. I'm using the word need, but we do. Why don't we choose more? Why don't we choose far greater than what we're choosing right now? So what could you choose that you've never thought you could choose, that you would love to choose, that if you chose it would create a way more exciting, phenomenal life? And everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please?
Yes.
Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. So what could you choose that you've never chosen?
Everything.
It is way beyond what you think you can have right now. That if you chose it would create a phenomenal life and a more exciting, adventurous life. And everything that is times godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it, please?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, up, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Yep, there's, it truly does come down to choice. The people, if you have a look at Richard Branson, he would have chosen at a very young age that he was going to be rich. I've got a daughter that's doing very well financially, and I know she tells me that, you know, her father was such a mean old thing. She chose at a young age, I'm never going to live like that. I'm not going to live like that. I'm going to be well off. And we can choose that right now, because when I discovered that everything was choice, I started to choose that myself too. I'm choosing to be far wealthier. And you don't have to know how it's going to show up. What would it take for us to choose to have way more than we've ever thought was possible?
I have to admit, since starting my access journey, my financial situation has got better and better and better.
Wow.
It's just through choice.
Yes.
Where I've got surplus income where I can just do whatever I like.
Yeah. So what would it take for everyone to have that? So do you put 10% away, Gabriel?
I put 20% away. The
You
first thing I do. Every pay, 20%.
Okay. So do you guys know all about the putting 10% away?
No.
Okay. So let's teach. Would you like to know about that?
Yes, please.
Okay. So have you ever heard, there's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. Have you ever read that book?
No.
I've read it.
Yeah, I read it years and years ago, and in it he talks about the how to get rich. And
Well, I have a question. Whenever you get paid, say from your employment, your job, do you pay yourself?
Oh, the money goes in the bank and bits come out for your Kiwi Saver and your all those sorts of things, and the rest of it just stays in the bank and you just use it as needed, is how I've done it.
So you don't actually pay yourself for being you.
No, I don't. Well, I go and get what I want when I want it, but I don't physically pay like in the hand whether it's a weekly, fortnightly pay. No.
Yeah, that's the first thing I do with any money that comes in, is I pay me. So I treat the money coming in as a business, and I'm its employee.
Mm-hmm.
So over and above paying all the other bills, that money that you've worked for in your 40-hour-a-week job, your boss pays you. So how about you pay you?
Okay, yeah.
And that's what the 10% account's about, is you honouring you and paying you 10% of all and everything that comes in.
So do you keep that in cash, hard cash, or you have a separate account that you put that in and then you have a big me day?
The idea is not to spend it. The idea is it's to value you and let it grow.
Yeah.
And it's about honouring you. And when you honour you, the universe honours you. That's so good, Gabriel.
And it creates more. When you honour you and value you, more of that actually starts showing up.
The money increases. Because when you honour you, you're telling the universe that you matter and that you count.
And you're worth it.
And you're worth it. Absolutely.
So you can either put it in cash and tuck it under the mattress, or I've set up an investment account, and I just fire it away into that investment account every week, and I don't touch it. It just grows.
And that money grows.
It grows. And when you actually look at your bank account and see it growing, and it gets to a point where it's like, wow, it automatically changes something in your brain to go, wow, I've got money. I've got money.
That's absolutely right.
Your check account could be zero, but your me account could have $2,000 in it. And you can still go, wow, I've got money.
And what are you saying when you're saying that?
How does it get better than this?
What else is possible?
What else is possible? So that's really cool.
It does actually change something in your psyche, in your mind,
yes,
regarding money. And
yes.
that's what I found, because I was brought up with not having enough, or we can't do this because we don't have enough money, or my dad had a broke mentality, so it followed suit. And that changed for me, setting up the 10% account. It took me a while to actually set it up, but once I did, it changed things.
Yeah. How cool is that? Thank you so much for the way you explained that, Gabriel. That was awesome. And
You're welcome.
And it's really true. And it's in the money book. There's some really great money books about energetically changing your financial situation. One is called Money's Not the Problem, You Are. And those 4 words to get out of your vocabulary, 5 words, to get them out of your vocabulary, that will start to increase your money flows as well. And then if you start to put 10% away, when money comes in, and then you commit to, that's to you, that's for me, and let that money grow and watch it grow and see what a difference it makes in your life.
That's the first thing I do. When my paycheck comes in, that's the first thing I do, is I pay me, and then I'll pay rent, and I'll pay my credit card, and I'll pay my car payment, my car insurance, my cell phone bill.
Yeah.
But I pay me first. Now, how many of you pay all your bills and then keep what's left over?
Yeah, yeah. That's how we're brought up.
Exactly. So once again, by paying you, it changes that mindset, that psyche within you. It changes the energy and how you feel about money and how money shows up for you. So if you honour you and pay you first, and then pay the mortgage or the rent second, it makes quite a big difference, and you'll feel it after the first few times of doing it.
How does it get better? Thank you, Gabriel. That's awesome. I think I'm going to...
It increases your self-worth as well.
It does. Absolutely. Okay, so has anyone got any more questions they would like to ask? How was that for you tonight?
Great, thank you. Very good.
It's been really lovely having you. Thank you, Gabriel, for your wonderful awarenesses as well. And Andrea,
you're welcome.
I believe we might talk to you soon.
Thank you for everybody showing up and choosing it.
Totally. And I'll put the recording out there anyway. So you will be going, you might even go worldwide. You just never know. So.
World famous in New Zealand.
And yeah, so we'll be in Picton. I'll be in Picton. Hopefully I might get to see you, Gabriel. And
It's a possibility.
And what are the infinite possibilities? So I'm going to finish the recording now. There we go.